Hello, Earth signs, and welcome into your reading for the first half of February, where we'll be taking a look at your jobs and career, love and relationships, and life path and mission. So the first part it'll be for all the Earth signs, and then I'll pull cards for each of the individual signs after that to give a little bit more clarity. So a few of the things, kind of the bigger things that have been going on at the end of January. So we did have Uranus went direct on the 27th, and it had been retrograde for about 6 months. And so now with it going direct, that change can become a little bit more of an option for you. So things may have been stalling out for the second half of 2023, but now the energy is picking back up for you to be able to make some changes. And also the really big one was that on the 20th, Pluto moved into Aquarius. So it had been sitting in Capricorn for 15 years, and it's going to be sitting in Aquarius, for the next 15 or 20 years. The last time this happened, there was major changes happening in the world. So it was like the time of the French Revolution and the Irish Uprising. So the Capricorn energy is about hierarchy and structure. And then when it moves into Aquarius, it's more of a collective energy and collective good. So before we get into the reading, pulling one of the crystal cards or the element cards, and this is Platinum Goddess, Larimar Rose Quartz. So if you have rose quartz, you may want to use that in your meditations for the first half of the month. And this has to do with purity, safety, and bliss. So we'll put this over here on the side and kind of tie some of the reading back to that. So in addition to the couple things I mentioned in January, the first part of February, we're going to have some other big changes. Like on the 5th, Mercury enters Aquarius. On the 13th, Mars enters Aquarius. And on the 9th, there's an Aquarius new moon. So that is all about like getting started on making changes in your life. And you're going to have some kind of sudden insights as these shifts happen. And it's also about looking at unconventional ideas and becoming more independent. And on the 13th, when Mars goes into Aquarius, that's really going to have a lot of enthusiasm and motivation for you to make some changes, to be thinking about the future and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started on the jobs and careers. In the recent past, we've had 5 of Pentacles in reverse energy, currently sitting in Page of Swords in reverse energy, with the 2 of Wands as like the next level of energy coming in. So in the recent past, you had been working on, like from a job perspective, overcoming adversity and kind of moving on and getting some traction from a job perspective. And right now, it's kind of left you in a little bit of like a cynical, maybe blunt, manipulative, or feeling like maybe you've been manipulated. So you thought you were moving on, but it still has some lingering, I guess, yucky feelings that go with it. The next level that's coming in, though, is this personal power and decision making. So you thought you'd overcome it, but there were still more struggles and challenges. So then you're going to be in a place to make a decision in the near future in terms of what you want to do, whether you want to try to make changes at that job, whether you want to look for a different job. And so let's take a look and see, if you're going to have that decision looming, what's kind of the next level of energy there. So that's 2 of Swords in reverse, and then the King of Pentacles. So this is this reliable, secure, prosperous energy. And then, but feeling first like there's confusion. There's like not really a good choice for you, and there's a lot of indecision. So you do have a decision to make, but you kind of don't really know what direction to go. So you're being called to go in the direction of reliable security. So if this job has a lot of volatility in it, maybe that's something that the energy coming in for you is, no, look for something that has more stability. Or the flip side of that is, if you are trying to decide between this and starting your own business, maybe you're being pushed in the direction of sitting somewhere where you have a little bit more security, as opposed to something that's a little bit more up in the air. So that's what's coming through on the jobs career standpoint. So let's take a look at love and relationships, and we'll get some clarification on this sign by sign as well. So in the recent past, we have the Devil in reverse, sitting currently in the Fool energy, with the Four of Cups energy being the next level of energy coming in. I'll scoot these up a little bit. So in the recent past, with this Devil in reverse, that's kind of the sense of like independence and self-control and empowerment, like you've overcome whatever it was that was keeping you from your true highest self. And so that being able to overcome that, whether it was addictions, whether it was certain behavioral patterns that kept cycling through, like maybe you just kept making the same mistake over and over again, or attracting the same sort of situation over and over again. And now you've overcome that. So you're sitting in the Fool energy, like a fresh new start. The next level of energy coming in with the Four of Cups, there's a little bit of like this contemplation and sort of some apathy. So it's a fresh start, but this is like the beginning of a journey. So whether that's a new stage in a current relationship, whether it's a new outlook, like I was in a relationship, now I'm single, or whether it's starting a new relationship, the incoming energy is a little bit of like kind of gloomy, sad energy. So this maybe didn't take off as much as you were hoping, or in the way that you were hoping. So again, we'll look sign by sign and see what that kind of looks like as well. All right, and then let's take a look at life path and mission and see what messages want to come through there. In the recent past, we have the Hermit in reverse, currently sitting in 10 of Pentacles in reverse, with the High Priestess in reverse as the next level, or the next energy coming in. So in the recent past, you've had this sense of like loneliness and withdrawing from your loved ones, and kind of like this feeling of sadness and rejection. So maybe you thought you were moving down a certain path, and then that didn't pan out. So then you were sitting in that space of feeling kind of lonely, not really knowing what to do. And that's leaving you in a place right now of feeling just burned out. So, so there were some struggles there, maybe feeling like you weren't as connected with other people as you were hoping, like that you were isolated, and it's leaving you kind of feeling burned out and stressed. The next level of energy coming in is kind of, it's a level of uncertainty. And sometimes it has to do with there being secrets. That can also be, if that's looking at your life path, like that you don't know what it is. So feeling like the universe is keeping it a secret in terms of what it is. So we'll take a look again, sign by sign, and see kind of what else comes through there in terms of what the next steps look like. So let's pull a couple of oracle cards here and see where those fall into place. All right. Mediate and contemplate. So especially as it comes into this decision, and like we were talking about, the King of Pentacles has kind of like a security with it. So when you're doing your meditation, use some of that rose quartz if you have it, and really think about, from a safety standpoint, if safety is going to give you that sense of bliss and happiness, what is going to move you into more of that sort of energy? So we have that meditate and contemplate. Let's take a look at our Gaia card. Let's see what message comes through here for you. The dream. Something is revealed. Insight and breakthrough. So some of that, as you're meditating and contemplating, you will start to have some senses of breakthrough. And I think that's also going to go along here with this life path and mission. If you're sitting in this energy of you don't really know where to go with that, maybe start keeping a dream journal and see what all messages come through for you in your dreamscape. All right, and one more. Don't confuse activity with accomplishment. So, so some of it if it's on the job front and you have a decision that you need to make, you want to make sure that you're doing something that's going to produce results. So don't just spin your wheels for the sake of spinning your wheels. And that can be applicable across anything. Is you have to put intention behind what you're doing and see how does that fit into the big picture of what it is that you're looking for. So I'll pull one more card here for you as well. Remember, you chose this lesson. So if you're feeling like it's hard, and maybe that's going in here, that you thought this new start was going to yield, more exciting, loving results, things that would make you happier. Remember that everything's happening for a reason. So if there's a tough lesson that's coming through, you chose this lesson before this incarnation. So, so keep that in mind and think about it in the context of what can you do? What can you learn so that you don't keep repeating through these cycles over and over again? All right, so now we're going to look sign by sign. So we will start out with Taurus. And let's get some clarification on, I'll pull a couple of cards for each one. Overall, Ace of Pentacles energy, since I haven't started yet. So for you, you'll have the Ace of Pentacles, and that is about prosperity and opportunity and new starts. So wherever that seems to fall. So, and then let's pull two cards on the job standpoint. We have our Nine of Swords, and we have our Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So actually, when you look at it here, so you have your swords, you have your pentacles. Oh, and that was Ace of Pentacles. I thought that was a 9 for a second. So from a job perspective, you have a lot of anxiety and stress going on with having to make some sort of a decision. And then you also have this sense of overstretching yourself. And so with that, sometimes that has to do with being, having financial struggles, but it's also about time and energy. So those are also pentacles. So if you're spending more time there than maybe than you should be, then you're losing focus on some of these other areas of life. So make sure that you're seeing that balance. And, maybe that means that it is time for a new start. If what's been happening here is that you thought you were turning a corner, but you're still having all these struggles, maybe it's time for that new start for you. And actually, let's take a timing card for you as well, in terms of when you'll get some clarity on this decision and which direction for you to go on the job standpoint. Summer. So coming in, relatively soon here. So taking some time to figure out what it is that you should do, take that time to meditate, and then kind of be prepared for some clarity and some changes coming in the summer. All right, Taurus, let's take a look at love and relationships. You have the World, and you have the Six of Wands. So this is about victory and closing out a cycle. So you had worked on overcoming, like I said, this can either be an actual addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, shopping, eating, whatever it is, or it could be an addictive thought pattern or behavioral pattern. And so it's like you would overcome it, and then you get this fresh new start, but then you're still sitting here going, well, wait a second, that fresh new start didn't change things the way that I thought it was going to. So this World, this can be, that's the final card in the major arcana. So that's the wrapping up, that's the conclusion, of that cycle. And so with that, and remember, you chose this lesson. So whatever the lesson is that's here, it's coming to conclusion, it's wrapping up. And then your Six of Wands is kind of like victory. So that means that whatever was happening, it's happening, like you're breaking that cycle, you're finishing that cycle so that you can move on, whether that means you've gotten over the hurdle in your relationship, so you're seeing eye to eye and you're re-energized, or even if that's an ending, since the Fool has to do with new beginnings, even if that's the ending of the relationship, since you have both of those coming into play here, it could be the ending of it, but that's a good thing. Like you've learned the lessons, you're ready to move forward. So then along the bottom here, we'll take a look at life path and mission and see what is coming through for Taurus. You've got your Five of Cups and you've got your Page of Wands in reverse. So with your life path and mission, there is a sense of sadness and loss. So you've been very stressed out, like you thought you knew what your life path and mission was. And you're realizing you kind of don't. Like there's this uncertainty. And so that makes you feel like there's a loss there because you don't know what direction you're going. This Page of Wands energy, this is kind of like a dull, indecisive energy. Like you just don't know where you're going to be going. So let's take a look from a timing perspective at when it looks like you might start getting some clarity on what your life mission, what your life path is, when you stop focusing on it. So if you are dead set fixated on figuring out what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Sometimes that can actually block it because you're putting too much energy behind it. So if you just meditate and focus on the fact that, yes, there's a plan in place, the divine timing is in place, and just work on healing yourself and, being happy and focusing on you, then some of this will start to come into a little bit better focus for you. So I hope you found this to be helpful. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. And so that was our message for Taurus. And now let's move on to Virgo and see what we have happening for Virgo. Okay, so still using this as the backdrop here. So with Virgo, Queen of Wands in reverse is what popped out as, I guess, kind of overall energy here. So your Queen of Wands in reverse, that's a little bit of this like overbearing kind of selfish energy. So sometimes that's seen as being bad, like greedy, selfish type of energy, but that's also energy of pulling the focus back to you and what is it that you need and putting your own needs first. All right, so Virgo, let's see what wants to come out on job and career. We have Ace of Swords and we have Seven of Wands in reverse. So, so this was the setup here was that you're kind of, you're in a position where you need to be making a decision about work because you thought you were turning a corner, but then you're still sitting here in this energy of feeling like that's not really the right place for you. So your Ace of Swords, that's new projects and breakthrough. So there's going to be something new going on from a job and career standpoint because you have this decision to make. And then you also have with your Seven of Wands in reverse, there's still some of this sense of burnout, like you're tired of having to focus so much energy on it. So let's take a look from a timing perspective of when it seems like this will come into focus for you and you'll get more clarity about what direction you need to go work-wise within 3 to 6 months. So not too far down the road. And that's something, sometimes it's helpful if you kind of have a little bit of a frame of reference as to how long am I going to have to work on this. Some people will say, yeah, I can do anything as long as I know how long I have to do it. So hang in there and really work on your meditation. What is the lesson that you're supposed to be taking away from this job perspective? So since this does have a little bit of that air of manipulation, if you feel like you're being manipulated, maybe think about what is the lesson here? How is it that I can overcome having these types of situations happen to me in the future? All right, so next we have our love and relationships. So pull 2 cards here. We have Two of Wands in reverse and Two of Pentacles. So with your Two of Wands in reverse, this is you're avoiding change and there's some indecision. So the interesting thing is this has come out in the overall energy for the collective in the daily reading for Tuesday and Wednesday, Two of Wands in reverse. So it's a really heavy energy out there right now within the collective in general of, I don't really know, like, what direction should I be going in? I don't really know. And then we have our Two of Pentacles, which is about kind of juggling priorities and weighing your decisions and trying to figure out and decide what it is that you should do. So, the interesting thing is when you look at the reading in general, so you have Two of Wands, from a different deck, Two of Wands, Two of Swords, Two of Pentacles. So the one that's missing is the Two of Cups. And sometimes what's missing speaks loudest as to what needs to be looked at. So with the Two of Cups being missing, that's the energy of having like connection and partnership and a companionship. So it seems like that's the energy that's maybe missing, here at work, in your love life, like you're craving that sense of partnership and companionship. Because with this, you had a fresh start that was happening, but then you're still in that kind of like sad, gloomy energy because it didn't pan out the way you thought it was going to. So again, like kind of juggling all of that. And let's take a look at, from a timing perspective, when does it seem like some of that energy is going to be changing for you as well? It's already in motion. So have some faith that is moving in the right direction and pulling, remember to pull your energy back into you. And there's a lesson for you to take away from this whole track and that path as to what's happened. So make sure that you're looking at that and including that in part of your meditation and reflection so that when something new comes in, you can make different choices based on the learning and the healing that you've done. All right. Life path and mission. We've got the Fool. And we've got Three of Pentacles. So the Fool, there's a fresh start. So kind of like a fresh idea that you have this sense of, okay, here's what my life path is. Here's what my mission is. And then Three of Pentacles, that's this collaboration and the teamwork. So like I said earlier, with the Two of Cups being missing, what you're really looking for and what's missing in your life in general right now is that feeling of partnership and companionship and being connected with somebody. And that's the energy here that's coming in for you. After this High Priestess in reverse energy, this like uncertainty, and you kind of don't really know what's going on, you're going to get a fresh start and there's going to be partnership involved in it. So depending on if you're on a twin flame journey, a lot of times the Three of Pentacles is representative of the twin flame journey because the pentacles are the divine masculine, divine feminine, and spirit. And so when you pull that in, it's kind of putting all of those together to give you a fresh new start and kind of jump starting that mission, that purpose. And it could be that that's your twin flame mission. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. There's going to be some more readings that are going up on the website. So if you want to be notified as those posts, hit that notification and subscription. And I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Alrighty, and now we are going to jump in on Capricorn and see what messages are coming through for Capricorn as it pertains to the reading so far. So let's take a look at, okay, this was your jumper card. Both of the other signs had jumper cards too. So Seven of Pentacles as the kind of overall energy specific to Capricorns, and that is growth. That's you're reaping the benefits and the rewards. So that's your growth energy. So beautiful. All right, let's take a look at jobs and career. So you have your Four of Wands and you have the Strength card. So if you're on a twin flame journey, a lot of times Four of Wands is one of the big cards there because it's the 11-11 when you're matching up the wands in a traditional tarot deck. So this is something that it could be that you're involved in a work situation with your twin. But also the Four of Wands, when you look at it, this is also going to be representing like a celebration. And so, and a kind of community feel. And so with this, yes, you have a decision to make and you're not quite sure which direction to go and you're trying to go with something stable. There is going to be a celebration. You're going to find that direction. You're going to use that strength to be able to navigate through the decisions that you have to make. So some of this here, this is Aries energy. So if that's helpful, and then the strength card, that's Leo energy. So you may be encountering, since it's kind of like a celebration and partnership type of energy and community, there could be somebody coming in to help with that decision. Maybe you're bouncing ideas off of a friend or a partner. Oh. And so this is, as we were moving on to the relationship standpoint, we had Judgment in reverse come out as a jumper card. And we also have the Seven of Cups, and I'll pull one more since this was a jumper. So with Judgment in reverse, that's about having like doubt, and you're ignoring a chance that's sitting there right in front of you, and kind of this failure to learn from the past. So that's a little bit of, you overcame something and you got a fresh start, and you're still kind of feeling that, gloom or apathy. It could be because even though you got a fresh start, you're still repeating patterns that you thought that you would overcome. So that's kind of that failure to learn from the past. Your Seven of Cups is that there's this indecisiveness, maybe a little bit of daydreaming, but you're just having to make a choice, and you're kind of not really sure what you should be doing. And then you also have the Four of Swords energy, which is that you're kind of deep in thought. So you do have two of the fours here, and so that's something to consider, that and you have your Four of Wands up here, so you do have some four energy, but the one that's missing is the Four of Pentacles, because I don't think we have that anywhere else in here. So sometimes the one that's missing is the one that speaks loudly as well as to what is missing in your life or in your situation. And so with it being the Four of Pentacles, that one's all about security and stability. So that's why in your energy on the job standpoint, it's pushing to go in a direction where you're going to feel that security and feel that stability. So in terms of how this looks like from a relationship standpoint, since you're kind of in a little bit of that place of indecision, let's pull a timing card to see when it looks like you'll be in a better position to make that decision and feel like you're turning that corner. After the Tower. So you may end up in a situation where if you're not learning from the past, and you get a fresh start and you're not learning from the past, and then you just kind of get confused with the Seven of Cups. Like there's just, you don't know what to do, and you're having trouble making decisions. If you keep looping back to what you were doing before and not learning that lesson, you're going to have a Tower moment. Otherwise, you'll be able to kind of push through. If you're incorporating your lessons, then you don't have to repeat the same lesson. And remember, you chose this lesson. And so you're being pushed to move towards a sense of peace. So if part of it was that you had a tumultuous relationship because there was addictions, there were things that were pulling you off of your true self in that relationship, if you jump right into another one like that, you're still going to be off path. So for example, if you tend to get into relationships with narcissists, and then you finally feel like, oh, okay, I'm overcoming that, fresh start, and then you start a relationship with another narcissist, you're going to keep looping back through that same pattern. But remember, you chose this lesson. So it's something that if you can step back and meditate, you can maybe see what the lesson is so you can learn and be on to that happier start. All right, life path. Oh, this one flipped during the shuffle. Temperance. And I'll pull two more since that one was a flip card. Then we have the King of Swords in reverse. And we have the High Priestess. So So temperance is about finding that balance and being patient with yourself. So even though you are kind of in that energy of, I don't really know what my path is, I don't know what my purpose is, be patient and, work on your meditation, and clarity will come for you. And, so there's a little bit of, I'll call this like cold or cruel energy because of the fact that you're, I guess, stressed out about not really knowing what your purpose is. And some of this can be overlapping here a little bit, that you don't really know what direction your love life is going in, and that's bleeding over into your purpose because maybe you thought that the two were going together. But then with the final card being the High Priestess, that is about your inner wisdom and your higher consciousness. And so that writes this incoming energy of not really knowing what you're supposed to be doing. So this is about kind of pulling back to self and being able to tap into some of that higher intuition, and inner feminine energy or divine feminine energy is that supportive, nurturing energy. So think about that as you are maybe like meditating and trying to figure out what your path is, and see how things come through. So let's take a look from a timing standpoint at when we see this flip happening from High Priestess in reverse to High Priestess upright. Within 3 months. So it looks like it's not going to be long, drawn out lesson. It's just going to be a little bit more intention behind your meditation and what is it that you want to do. So hopefully this message helped. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. So there's going to be new videos posting on the channel this week. So if you want to be alerted as to when those come out, hit that subscribe and notification bell. Otherwise, you can check back on a regular basis. I'll be doing the daily reads as well as some of these other special reads. So I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time, bye-bye.